Yes. All right, we're all good. Ready?
Mhm.
Hello, everybody. This is Bird bringing you guys a game from the GosuLeague. It's going to be Navi versus DD, and I'm joined by WhatIsHip. Thanks for
Good
waking up early,
morning.
even though I know it's only like 11 for you, or
Yeah,
later.
it's at
Is it
12.
11?
It's not.
12?
It's
Damn,
12.
dude.
Yeah. I just woke up too, though, so we're in the same spot.
Same spot, except you got to sleep in.
Yep.
Slight difference. Though I'm feeling okay. This is going to be a tough match for DD, playing against the pretty much runners for first place of the GosuLeague, and arguably one of the best teams in Europe right now. Navi needs to win a bunch of points. They have a match today and a match tomorrow. And if we take a look at the standings, I'm going to bring those up while we're waiting a sec. Play.gosugamers.net for that. Empire is sitting at, I believe, 3 points ahead of Navi. So that means that for Navi to tie for first place, they have to win 3 out of the 4 matches between today and tomorrow. So this is going to be one of their good shots at getting a 2-0, I believe. Empire played DD yesterday and 2-0'd them. So Navi needs to do the same.
Yeah, I would say that it's Navi is definitely the ones here who might have a bit of an advantage. So DD, if they don't want Navi to get first place, are going to have to come up with something special.
Yeah, so I am now moving to the thing on the full screen. There it is, play.gosugamers.net if you guys want to watch that. Just let me change overlays again. That one will work for now. Navi here is at 5 matches. They are at 8 points. They've got 2 matches to play for today. Empire yesterday took a 1 win here and 1 draw. That gave them 3 points. So if Navi wants to just straight out win the division, they have to win every single game today and tomorrow. If they end up tying against Empire, what's going to happen is they'll just have to play a tiebreaker, like a best of 3, which I believe happened last season with them and Kaipi,
Yep.
and they ended up stomping Kaipi. So that went really well for them.
Yep, that was conclusion of last season. We've had some pretty decent luck with the end of the seasons being really excited, so
Mm-hmm.
it's good.
Yeah. But how's the game today going to go? We'll see. Jakiro's getting banned, Bounty Hunter, Magnus, and Navi's actually waiting on their last ban right now. Taking a lot of time here. Now, the Jakiro ban is a little atypical. We usually don't see that in the first round. It leaves a lot of good heroes in the pool, like Darkseer, Batrider, Templar Assassin, all in the pool. Those 3 heroes are arguably tier 1 bans. And even Puppy burning into the extra time, because there's a lot of good heroes in the pool, and he knows that even if DD gets first pick, they might also get some really good stuff to follow that up. So he's just weighing out his options and planning things, and he decides on a Batrider. So Batrider is the ban in the first round. It's going to give DD either a TA or a Darkseer, most likely, and then Navi gets to respond to that.
The other interesting thing that DD banned out the Jakiro and Bounty Hunter first is there's no bans targeted at Dendi. A lot of times you will see one of those first couple bans being used to take out one of his best heroes. Obviously, playing mid role, he has one of the biggest impacts of the game extremely quickly. So we'll see who Navi picks up. I'm a little interesting to see how they play in this new style. I haven't seen any of their games lately, and we've definitely seen a little bit of a shift in the last couple of weeks compared to earlier, just like a month ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they haven't been doing super well lately. They haven't been stomping every tournament like was kind of expected of them. That was the case about 6 months ago. But I've been hearing rumors about them not practicing effectively and things like that.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that happens to a lot of the top European teams. If they're winning tournaments occasionally, then they feel good about it. Or, laziness is a powerful thing. And they have lots of money
Motivation.
already, so they've won the international the first time, and then they got second place. The second one around made about 50K a piece, something like that. I mean, it's not like they're hurting for cash here. Do they really need to work super hard to win? I don't know. I could see that being causing an issue. So maybe
Yeah.
it'll give someone else a chance to make some solid money in the Dota 2 scene. Who knows?
And Link is taking a long time here for this first pick. A little
Mhm.
surprised to see this. Usually you'll see teams pick up at least that first pick rather quickly, and it's actually going to be a wisp from them. Interesting.
Huh. Well, this is going to allow them to possibly cheese on Navi. They can grab a melee carry like a Chaos Knight, they can grab a Sven, and they can globally gank, or they can even go for a Tiny. So Navi's going to start off with the Darkseer as their obvious decision. I think they'll maybe do a TA as well. And Darkseer is one of the counters to TA. Batrider's already gone, so that might be a good way to set things up. Dendi will easily outlast hit whoever's against him in the mid lane, unless we see like a crazy Rubik Magnus. No, Magnus is gone, so we won't see that, but...
Yep, I think that Darkseer first is pretty predictable from Puppy. It's just he's such a strong hero in so many
Mhm.
different scenarios, for many different reasons. He works extremely well in team fights, extremely well in lane. He's really versatile. A lot of times, if he's up against a really, really hard lane, like a tri lane or something, you'll see him rotate into the jungle for a couple levels, so it's safer.
Hmm.
There's almost no reason not to pick Darkseer. He just works in almost all scenarios really well, so not too surprised to see that first pick from Navi.
Yeah, his long lane is by far one of the easiest and most offensive possible. When you're normally in a long lane situation, your goal is to just get as much EXP and gold as possible, which is usually very trace amounts. But what Darkseer can do, especially against any melee carry, is you can harass them while also getting your last hits, which is just, I mean, borderline unfair, I swear, because at your long lane solo, you shouldn't be able to do that in a way. There's not really another long lane that can compare to this. Maybe Tidehunter, but with any support harass, Tidehunter has to be very careful. So Darkseer is definitely still a very powerful hero. I don't believe he received any nerfs in the latest patch. I think IceFrog is feeling okay with the hero at the moment. He's still a top pick and a top ban. He isn't necessarily just winning team fights easily anymore. He still can do that a little bit, but at least the cooldowns are longer and the AoEs are not as strong, things like that.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, he sort of went from being like the auto ban in the first couple of months that I was around competitive Dota, but now you get to see him a lot more just because there are the super strong laners and Batrider, Magnus, super strong everywhere. We saw yesterday it happens if he gets a good lane partner in the mid lane, and they're going to pick up the Chaos Knight as well as the Templar Assassin. I think it's interesting that Puppy opted to take the Shadow Demon second pick. It seems like he might have been thinking they were picking up Chaos Knight. That's actually a really good response because if someone gets Chaos bolted, you can just disrupt them and
Hmm.
gets rid of most of the duration of the stun and keeps them safe. So, interesting second pick from Puppy.
Yeah, I don't completely understand it myself, because it did allow the opponents to have a Templar Assassin as well as a Chaos Knight, but unless they end up putting a Shadow Demon as a solo mid versus the TA to shut her down, I'm a little curious why he ended up drafting that so early. Her Shadow Demon's ulti does go through Chaos Knight's BKB, so there's that option. It'll slow him down a lot, but he can still use Reality Grift to initiate, so I wouldn't say it's the best counter ever. But he can gank decently against TA as well. I don't know. Like you said, there's a lot of good things about Shadow Demon, such as saving allies, but is it really worth it picking up that early is the question. I'm not quite sure. They grab a Sven, actually, so this might be a support Sven because they have a Shadow Demon. It's a good ganking combo. It might be a hard carry Sven. Sven versus Chaos Knight is a very viable hero, so I think it's a possibility that it will be a farming Sven.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot easier to tell after the next couple of picks, but like you said, Shadow Demon and Sven is an extremely strong and extremely popular ganking combo, so we'll see if they choose to go that route or if they do end up farming the Sven. But it looks like the bans for DD are going to be a little bit easier for this second round. I think they're just going to start banning out solo mids because no solo mid yet, unless that Shadow Demon does go in the mid lane. With the Sven, I think it's a little bit more unlikely.
And Navi actually bans a Windrunner, and surprisingly, there's a ban that probably should have seen the first round. It was Undying, a hero that Navi didn't draft. They grabbed a Shadow Demon instead. Now, Shadow Demon's almost never banned. Undying much more common, but apparently they don't want to do that kind of a tri-lane, and don't feel comfortable fitting it into their lineup, I guess. Lone Druid also banned by DD. Could have been a mid-lone Druid, I guess. Would have been really surprised about that. I don't know if DD has seen something that I have not, but a little surprised to see that since they already have a long lane and they're really just looking for mid. So probably going to see one more mid hero band who's a really good mid that's still left. And maybe something like a Night Stalker would be strong. I mean, if you can shut down the opponents and prevent their Wisp and Chaos Knight from being farmed, it really limits their relocate ganks in the mid game. So I think that would have been pretty cool to see.
Yep, and they actually ban out the Puppy's Chen.
Hmm.
And since they do have the Darkseer, there is going to be most likely one here in the jungle unless Navi has the tri-lane, but other reason they did that, they first pick up the Enchantress after the bans.
Yeah, that's going to prevent the enemy team from countering them with their hero picks, so pretty cool pick there. Don't see Enchantresses too often now. Sometimes we do, but not all the time. And a Weaver ban, actually, from Navi, a hero that we haven't seen very often drafted at all. The peaks off hard late game. Well, that's not really true. He's not the best late game carry. Wow, a PL. So it is going to be a support Sven for sure. We're seeing a PL as the farming hero 100% out of Puppy. So illusion heroes. Chaos Knight doesn't have that much AoE. And actually, if you look at DD's lineup, they have virtually no AoE right now. So this is actually a really good carry pick at the moment. It's not very often where that ends up being the case where the opponents don't have much AoE. But this is actually the perfect hard carry for this situation. And I really do want to make it clear how important it is that they don't have AoE. Because if your PL ever gets tanky, the game ends. I'm not even kidding, because you have 6 illusions. You can't kill them. You just can't kill them. On the bright side, Enchantress can use enchant on one of them to steal the illusion and possibly spawn her own army. So that may be a little bit of a problem with Navi's lineup.
Yeah, that's a really smart pickup from Puppy, unsurprisingly. This draft, I think, is going really well for them. Everything as, I mean, there's not really too many heroes that DD even has room for to pick up to counter this Phantom Lancer. I think with the Enchantress, it's very possible that this might be offensive, and they pick up the Tidehunter, we're the only ones left, and I bet that is probably going to be a solo landing Tidehunter.
Yeah, most likely. Long lane Tidehunter, TA mid, Chaos Knight Wisp, and an Enchantress in the jungle. They can possibly take towers. Ganking Darkseer is going to be a little tough. Probably give him some solo EXP to get the spirits up and then try to go for the burst down. I think they could kill Darkseer with that lane, though, with the Mage Suns. Enigma's the last pick, so that's going to be a jungling Enigma, most likely, by Puppy, I'm guessing. I'm sorry, Puppy's playing Phantom Lancer? That's weird. Is he playing support PL?
Maybe. Light of Havos is playing Sven. Light of Heaven is on the Enigma.
Weird.
And Dendi is playing Darkseer. It's
Okay.
Solo mid Darkseer, I guess.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, Light of Heaven is going to do a long lane Enigma. They're going to do a Sven Shadow Demon Phantom Lancer tri-lane, I guess. You know, one cool thing about this is they might be able to block people in under disruption. I think this might be what they're going for, perhaps. They'll disrupt a guy, and they'll cast disruption, and then as soon as he pops out, he'll get hit by Phantom Lance, and hypothetically speaking, he'll have 3 illusions on him, and maybe in melee range, maybe he'll be blocked in, and that might be what they're aiming to do.
And
That's
if
my
they
guess.
do that, that's going to be the sickest thing on the planet. That's not an easy combo to execute.
Yeah. Man, it is so weird to see Tidehunter's Anchor. I haven't seen it in months. Like, oh, what's this fancy weapon that Tidehunter is using here?
Oh, he's
Oh,
the normal
just
one.
an
He's got
anchor.
the pirate hat, though.
He does. All right, let's go over the players quick. For the rating team, this is DD. We have Calculus playing Tidehunter on the mid lane. Sakshka is going to be playing Templar Assassin. We've got Rise on the Enchantress. Kratos playing Wisp. And the last player is going to be Link playing Chaos Knight.
And for Navi, it's going to be Arsart playing the Shadow Demon, Puppy on the Phantom Lancer, Light of Heaven on the Enigma, Havos playing the Sven, and trailing behind is Navi, Dendi on the Darkseer.
Wow, Hovos's items are actually support items here, so I think it's going to be Puppy that's actually farming this game. Now, we almost never see this. Puppy usually plays the 4 role, Hovos plays the 1 role or the carry role, so this is unprecedented. From what I've seen, at least, looks like he is going to ward the pull spot. I'm sure the medium pull camp. Actually, Shadow Demon's getting caught. No disrupts on the Shadow Demon. There's the enchant. He's going to be pretty slow, but I think he's going to be fine here. Yeah, he'll get away just fine.
This is definitely going to be that laning Enigma. You look at his items, he started with a lot of health regen, so also rotating towards that bottom lane. And this is going to be a really interesting game. We'll have to see how this works out here. Havos actually leaves the Invis rune.
That's weird. Oh, he's just going to counter this ward really quick, and that's what he'll be doing. One Observer Order's counter. This is a huge ward to kill when you have a laning long lane Enigma. That's because the enemy team's not going to constantly know his position, so they can't make perfect decision making against him. Now at least Wisp will have to just kind of guess and assume. Maybe Enigma's in lane, maybe he's sapping EXP, and make decisions accordingly. So he's going to run away, wants to make sure his Clarity Potion finishes out. Once he has denied one of these creeps out, it should be pretty easy for the wave to push. The wave will push towards Enigma, and he will get some EXP out of it.
And Rise, we'll see how much he can contribute. Sakshka might request a bit of assistance in this mid lane against the Darkseer. That's a really hard lane, just Iron Shell, the obvious reason.
Yep.
And we'll see if Sakshka, yesterday we saw him get shut down pretty hard repeatedly in the mid lane. We'll see if it goes better for him. Calculus already taking a lot of pressure in the top lane.
To try to block him in. Havos throws the sun, 2 seconds, right in the front. Nobody has blocked him just yet. They're still right-clicking, but he does get killed. The Stout Shield's not enough to get him. So Puppy now with 2 denies. Is he not getting farm? I guess he is getting farm. He must have just missed a couple last hits here. 1 minute in. On the bot lane, Enigma has ran back to base, actually, to fill up his mana. Weird.
He died.
He died. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, Crit killed him, and that was actually the first blood.
That's really unfortunate. It happens right before the tide dies. So he does end up dying. 3 Ironwood branches apparently not enough. So that's going to happen though. Long lane Enigma, very, very hard to survive with. Oh, look at this. They have the Navi carrier. I haven't seen this one in game yet. Very appropriate.
Man. Yeah, that's appropriate.
I think this one's cute.
I hope they didn't have to buy it.
They're going to send this back actually. They have Enchantress on the high ground. He's looking to gank on the mid lane. Sock is going to have to start pressuring in a second here. He is right-clicking Dendy, trying to lure his HP, but he's got to worry about the Iron Shell. There's the Surge, and the net's going to land, but, you know, Dendy has no chance of dying here. His HP is so high. It's just an Enchantress and a TA, and I think, actually, Ryze is wasting a lot of time by even coming to the mid lane. They're just simply not going to have enough damage output to get him there. Unless something miracle happens, like, craziest block ever.
Yeah, I think Sashka needs to be a couple levels up, have a couple levels in Meld as well as more in Refraction, and maybe they'll be able to think about taking down Dendy. But Darkseer is such a tanky hero. He already has almost 800 HP, 750, and Boots in the stash.
Yep, that's going to be tough. This bottle's going to be on the way. Last hitting, he's got 15 and 2 compared to the 7 of the TA. Dendy playing this very smart because he's actually just pressuring constantly. He's actually pretty low here. He's got to run away. Probably not going to die. He's going to be okay buying Tango, or he has one Tango, and he's got items coming. Oh, yeah, and then the... Oh, I didn't realize that the small thing upgraded to a bird.
Interesting. That's pretty cool.
I thought those were two different couriers.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I did too.
I was like, there's no way this little, like... What is it, a mongoose? No, I don't know. Oh, ferret.
Weasel.
There's no way this ferret upgrades to a bird. That wouldn't make sense. But it does.
Apparently.
There it is. That's kind of a cool courier. I don't know, I like it.
And a lot of pulling going on in the top lane. Navi just keeping control of this lane, trying to keep Calculus out of XP range. They're semi-successful with that kill. He's level 2. He's doing some cool stuff, hanging out in the low ground.
So Puppy is up at 2 levels of Spear Lance, 1 level Juxtapose. I'm actually a big fan of this skill build. It's pretty cool. Especially against a long lane solo, he's not going to need his Invis skill, at least in the early game. And even still, it's pretty easily counterable by a single Dust, and at that point, the skill is essentially useless. So he can spawn illusions this way, he can use them to scout, he can use them to stack. There's a lot of implications of getting those illusions up early on. And he's kind of doing this weird thing where they're trading farm. Like, there's some points he's got Tranquil Boots now. Maybe he just wanted to farm until he has Tranquil, and now he's going to go ganking. I'm not really sure, but his last sitting has not really been as high as a hard carry typically would be, and now Havos is getting the farm, so I'm not really sure what their idea is here, but it's very interesting. You know, maybe he's going into the jungle or something. I guess that's what it's going to be. Literally started off with some farm, got Tranquil Boots and a Quellion Blade, and now he's just going to jungle to victory. So we don't see this very often, and most people argue it's not good because that's taking EXP and farm away from the hard carry, but, I mean, they can really take advantage of this jungle here with Enigma as well as a PL.
I'm very interested by this turn of events. I think they did this in a couple of the games in the Aces tournament this weekend.
Really?
Fortunately, I was casting all weekend, so I didn't really get to see any of the games. But I find it hard to believe this is the first time they've done this. It's going really well. They seem to know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah, it's definitely interesting. Tranquil Boots is really all you need to jungle pretty effectively. With the Quellion Blade on top of that, you're doing 32% bonus damage versus neutrals, and that works out just fine. So Vo's going to throw a stun actually on Calculus. We'll see if he's going to disrupt. There's a Soul Catcher. It lands on a creep, unfortunately, and they're trying to block him in. Can they? Yes, they get him blocked in. Spirit Lance's Puppy shows up. Calculus, can he get that kill? He's not going to be able to. Vos ends up staying alive. Tower has no creeps around, though, so they're going to have to just tank this up with the illusions, and they'll be fine.
Mid lane, Dendy is diving really far into Sashka, and he goes straight past the tier 1. Now he's going to run into Ryze in the jungle, but Ryze doesn't really have any stun creeps, so they're not really going to be able to stop him.
Sashka does hit level 6, though. But even still, Surge is going to be a problem. He has actually got 3 levels of Surge. Normally don't see this on any Darkseer players. They usually leave it at 2. But, you know, if he's in the mid lane, he's doing just fine. He will have a higher amount of EXP than we normally see. So he can still get the vacuum wall combo up at a semi-reasonable time. Just going to be a little bit later than usual.
Yep, having that extra level in Surge is also letting him play as aggressive as we've been seeing, diving all the way past that tower and still being able to make it out a little bit longer duration on the Surge. Another 1.5 seconds.
Now keep in mind that Enigma did actually leave the long lane a while ago. He's been jungling in the meantime. It has been pressured by Link as well as Crit on the Wisp and the Chaos Knight, and they are going to do a lot of damage to the tower now. Phase Boot's actually the choice on Chaos Knight. Very interesting. Don't normally see these picked up. Almost always it's going to be Treads. Shadow Demon kills Tidehunter on the top lane again. Sorry I missed that one, but this bot tower is going to fall pretty soon.
Yep, and that was just another case. There was same 3 heroes here, and Calculus just wasn't able to live. That's a really tough lane for him. I think he might want to consider moving around a little bit more. But normally, when you take down the tier 1, it's a sigh of relief for the solo long laner. It gives you a little bit more room to farm. But if they also take down the tier 2 and set up a couple wards, then you're sort of in the same situation you were before. You have no vision, basically in the dark, and we'll see if Calculus is able to do anything about this.
Yeah. Puppy is actually backdooring the creeps a little bit, or cutting the creeps, so to speak. 3 levels of Lance, 2 Juxtaposed. He grabbed a Vitality Booster, actually, next. So I think he is going to aim at least for now, just to have some general tank up. Items also coming on the courier. It's going to be a wand, maybe. It might be his. I'm not quite sure. He has no mana regen at the moment, so I think a wand would be very good.
In light of having continuing in jungle, now has his Soul Ring and a pretty good amount of money as well. Still needs to buy boots, but we'll see which build this Enigma goes. There's a couple popular trains of thought. You can go for BKB first. Maybe Mechanism is definitely the most popular one currently. Contributes a lot to your mid-game team fights, and it's really easy for that Enigma to farm that up in the jungle.
Wow, Dendy going all the way into max out Surge. Literally doesn't care about vacuum at all. The escape potential is huge, though. 7.5 seconds of max movement speed. If anything ganks him, I mean, he can cast this before he gets stunned, and he can make it all the way home. And it completely ignores the TA traps, of course. Once your max movement speed, slows do nothing to you. So, interesting build choice, but he can be more aggressive on the mid lane. This is why he's been spending so much time between the tier 1 and the tier 2, is just because he can. He can run all the way back using the Surge.
Yeah, and watch how fast Refraction's already gone. That's unreal. It's a great way to deal with Sashko. Turns around. Rise coming back in the mid lane. There's the slow, but like you said, once you're surged, you're going, man.
He's making a lot of mystery plants on the ground. Man, he literally outlasted the slow with his ulti. That's incredible. Whisk grabs a DD. It's going to pull back towards the bot lane. Dendy's bottle is empty. It's going to hurt him a bit. And he actually has no Soul Ring, by the way. We usually see a bottle into Soul Ring for Darkseer with Tranquil Boots, but he's actually just opting straight for the bottle. Doesn't worry that much about the mana. He might try to get a kill on Sock, actually doing some damage here, but he actually runs away just a second. Surges back, and it's a buckler, so it's going to be a mech rush out of a bottle. Tranquil Boots, not going to see a Soul Ring, at least for now.
Interesting build by Dendy. And not a little bit less aggressive than normal, but that's mostly just because he's playing Darkseer. Doesn't quite have as much of offensive potential. Basically, running into the enemy is your most offensive potential, and he has been doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Look, they're hunting for the ward in the mid lane, but Navi puts it up on the high ground so they don't find it. Or, sorry, other way around. DD puts it on the high ground.
The ward's over here, so they won't be able to counter that. Very smart ward placement, and good to shift that up a little bit. It's kind of like a off-ward position that you typically see, so Arzart thought for sure he would be able to grab it there, but it's actually shifted to the right, and he's not going to be able to find it. Dendy gets caught, though. There's a Gush looking for a net as well, but here comes the Surge, and he's going to juke into the tree, so he does get netted regardless, and there's going to be a clap, but it doesn't matter. He's still got like 3 levels of Surge left over. We see somebody get disrupted. That's TA. It's going to break his shield, and once again, he's just being completely evasive to ganks, and something very smart. Oh, Dendy gets stunned, though. This is where he's in trouble for a second, and he's actually going to die now. That is his only counter. Hard stuns. But even still, he did survive a lot more ganks early on, and I think maybe maxing Surge on the mid lane might be worth it for future Darkseers. Seems very effective.
It's pretty interesting. Gives you a lot more flexibility, and you can shut down your laning opponent a little bit harder, I think, with that build. It's going to be drums first for Hoopost.
And one other important thing that I'd like to point out about Dendy playing like this, and you might just say, like, oh, he's playing really aggressive because he's messing around or whatever. Oh, actually, gank on Arzart, he's not logical. He grabs the invis, actually puts his ulti down and gets stunned for 4 seconds. We see a nuke by Puppey, but he's in trouble. He can't even go invisible here. Do they even have dust? They don't. He's running for his life. He's got a wand, and he's going to go down in a second. He does get killed. Man, big mistakes there, losing 2 heroes. And Enigma does kill Enchantress on the bright side. That was in the jungle. Now, where was this? Mid lane?
Mid lane,
yeah. Mid lane. One important thing about Dendy's playstyle, though, is he's trying to create pressure and force ganks on him rather than his opponents. Because he knows if they go late game, they've got a Sven and a Phantom Lancer, plus Enigma for team fight. So I think that's part of the reason why he's being so aggressive on the mid lane with all the Surge. But the ganking has finally started, and it's really working well.
Yep, Navi's going to have to figure something out to deal with this. They can't really afford to get ganked too many times. Purge does go down on Sashka. Now Dendy's here as well. Finally, the Iron Shell popped after Refraction, but there's a double TP in, and Navi's going to have to be forced to back up. Dendy gets the 2-second stun on him. There's the disruption that we were talking about earlier. Arzart able to keep him alive for a bit longer, and Dendy surges away.
Ooh, he's getting low. The impetus.
Oh, wow.
Man, that's exactly what you avoid there. There's a Malphus on top of Link. Link might go down from this. Only 2 seconds, and they can't get a follow-up just yet. His 4 levels of demonic conversion. I don't know if he would have gotten him either way, but they're all going to stay alive on the mid lane. Net worth is looking pretty good for the Chaos Knight, especially after his successful ganks here. 2 kills and 3 assists now. And the Wisp's going to follow him level 7 with Arcane Boots, so no need for Link to have any kind of mana. Puppey's pushing the bot lane a bit. He has finally picked up a level of Doppelwalk. That way if he gets ganked again, he can go invis. And in the meantime, just more farming from the rest of Navi.
There is dust on the courier, though, for crit, so If they do gank not Puppy again, they might still be able to get a kill on him.
Definitely a possibility. Dendy goes back mid, about 700 gold away from Mech, and he's now died twice. So had a kind of a... He's got good last hits. He's up there, decently towards the top of the pack. He's going to surge the bot lane looking for a haste rune. He will get there before Sakshka can, and Puppy's also going to earn this. Oh, they're TPing. This looks scary for them. He pops the haste. Havos is going to be here, though. Throws the stun, going on Wisp. Next nuke as well. The Phantom Lance actually helping a lot. He gets killed. Dendy also going down, and Impetus hitting Havos as well. He's got to get out of there. There's the slow. He's got another stun. Needs to throw it. Gets killed by the Meld Strike, and Puppy's doing everything he can, but his invisibility has already been used. Spirit Lance in 3 seconds, and he won't be able to finish off the Chaos Knight. He's just too fast with that phase and drum.
That gank did not go at all how Arsar and or not Arsar, Navi wanted, and that TP-in was really clutch from Crit. They were able to take down the Wisp, but that was all they got, and then they took down Dendy as well as Havos, so definitely advantageous for DD there.
Yeah, I think Havos was really hoping that his stun ended up catching the Chaos Knight and the Wisp. It only caught the Wisp, and they bursted him down, obviously, but you know, if you're playing an early Sven, even if you have okay farm, a Power Treads and a Drum at 13 minutes is pretty darn good. He had his ulti on. I mean, they have to be disabled for you to really do the big damage output. And he does have some great cleave, but one level is really not going to make a big difference there. So, not going to get the kill. Calculus actually in trouble in the top lane. Denny's going to do some right clicks. Vacuum is going to whiff the only level 1. And a sell from him. Here comes the Reality Rift looking for the stun. Is he going to throw it? Does throw the stun. 2 seconds. Anchor Smash is used on Dendy. Calculus does not have enough mana for a Ravage. He uses the Gush once again. And Dendy's now actually slow enough. Avos throws the stun. It's going to land on both heroes. He might get the kill on Calc. He needs 2 more hits. 1 more there. Gets the kill. Now Link being chased, but he has used the phase. There's a disruption in the jungle. Or I'm sorry, in the rivers. Well, this is Sakshka.
Oh my god.
Wow.
Sakshka is so stuck against the wall.
Blocked into the wall. He does use Meld Strike. Will he Black Hole? This is the question. Soul Catcher's on and Poison happening. There's another ulti from Havos. Actually, he kills Enchantress immediately afterwards, looking for the Black Hole or Malefice. Malefice in 1 second, but it's going to send the Wisp back. He's going to put it on Link, and there's no way they'll get the kill. He gets sent back. But even still, 7-7 now, and Navi picks up a lot of kills on the top lane. That was Tidehunter going down as well as Enchantress.
Puppy pressuring the mid lane, though, while all this is happening, and with a couple illusions, you can pressure towers pretty quickly. You can also cut the creep wave so your creeps can take the tower, and that's a little bit what he did, and that tower's going to go down to him in the siege creep.
Yep, he wants to get the last hit. He does not actually. The Catapult takes it. Spreads the gold evenly across Navi's lineup. Let's take a look at the gold graphs and things. It's a Navi advantage, 1500 gold advantage. EXP is 1k, also very, very good here. But TP's to the bot lane, that's Sakshka. He's got a Medallion and a Blink. We don't see Medallion very often on this hero, actually. But it does reduce the armor by quite a bit, and he can initiate tanky heroes such as Dendy. I mean, he's at 16 armor right now. Reduce that by 6 from the Medallion. Hit him with the Meld Strike as well, and he will melt.
And since Dendy is going for the mechanism, we're seeing Light of Heaven actually build for the BKB first, and I think this is a good decision for a couple of reasons. Obviously, there's a pretty decent amount of stuns coming out of DD's team between the Chaos Knight, Tidehunter, even the mini stun from Tether. It's going to let him walk in and put that black hole wherever he wants, and hopefully set up some good damage from Puppy as well as Dendy.
Yeah, nothing's going to be able to get him. Honestly, if he pops the BKB, they have DD, unless they have a net creep, that's the only thing that's going to be able to stop him, such as a Dark Troll Warlord. But unfortunately for Enchantress, her creeps only last for a certain amount of time, so having one of those always available is unlikely. So I think he should be pretty set with this. Plus, they have a Darkseer. I mean, if you just vacuum and he has a BKB, you guarantee a 2 or 3 man black hole, assuming your setup is just fine. And I'm expecting to see those this game. So a very smart strat for Navi. We don't see this very often on Enigma players where they just rush the BKB, but it is really effective.
In the top lane, there are a lot of heroes here for DD, but sort of a failed gank as Crit is going to be bringing Link back home in just a second. I'm a little surprised if he actually takes him here.
He's going to leave him. There's 3 heroes. They wanted to wait until the Wisp goes away, and there's a TP. Wisp TP's back to the top lane because he wants to set up for this. But in the meantime, Puppy's actually farming the bot lane. He has finished his Vanguard to get his HP and regen up. Very tanky now, and a Vlad's is his choice. So he's going to go Vanguard, Vlad's. Going to give him his allies a lot of armor and a little bit of mana regen, and most importantly, just generally be very tanky himself.
And Dendy actually missed another vacuum on Sakshka in the river, and it looks like Navi's just decided that they're going to sacrifice this top tower. There's not really any way they can stop it. They know the Tidehunter is level 8, and since Light of Heaven doesn't have the BKB yet, they don't really have a good way to deal with that Ravage initiation of DD. But as soon as they do have that black hole, it'll be a little bit, or the BKB on the black hole, it'll be a little bit easier for them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They don't want to fight before they get the black hole. It's absolutely not worth it. Unfortunately, he's only about 120 gold away, and they're gonna have to give up a tier 2 as well. But on the bright side, Havos as well as Puppey have been able to take their own tower. Sven also going for BKB, and once they get this many magic immune items, I mean, Chaos Knight's not going to do the same. Neither will Tidehunter. If you can only ravage 2 heroes tops or 3 heroes tops, the hero really peaks off in effectiveness. Now, of course, this isn't a massive amount of damage out of Navi because they'll have BKBs instead, but regardless, still looking really good for Navi here. I mean, they're losing tower advantage, but once they do actually fight, it's going to be okay. He's going to try to TP out, gets ganked on. There's the tether stun. Havos way out of position, and an easy kill for him. And that was a big mistake for him. No reason for him to be by the tier 2 tower. Maybe he was expecting that relocate wasn't up, but that was the easiest kill ever on him. Oh, Light of Heaven actually was thinking about BKBing it. There's the black hole disruption. A slight mistake, though. They're going to use Soul Catcher and following this up with the Malefice on crit. Can they get the kill is the question. Link is about half HP. Arzar running for his life. Light of Heaven 10 seconds away from another Reality Rift. And man, the disruption, big coordination mistake there from Navi. And losing 3 heroes now and the first BKB charge and a black hole.
Yeah, that's a big deal. Especially that black hole's off on cooldown now for 180 seconds, and they didn't really even get anything out of it.
They got a wisp. It's not worth it,
Not
but
worth
they
it,
got a wisp.
Nothing of substance.
Yeah,
Man,
not a good
Chaos
situation.
Chaos Knight's just so strong in the early parts of the game, and looks like he's going to be building for a BKB as well.
Yep, looks like it. Most likely going to be a BKB. Against the enemy team. There's some decent disables that they can work towards. Malefice use, big stun on Link, actually ulti as well. Ravage is going to slow things down. Havos does not have his BKB finish, so they couldn't follow that up, but I don't think they're going to get him. He's so fast with the tether as well as the face moves, but they do Demonic Purge on Sakshka. Dust as well is used. There's the vacuum. 4 heroes grouped up, but Dendi does not have Wall of Replica just yet. Despite that, they're still killing heroes. Stun on Rise and more right clicks. 2 dead heroes now, and a buyback from Chaos Knight. They did end up killing him, and they forced a buyback. He's going to try to pick up some heroes in the jungle, but Dendi's running. That was a big waste of a buyback for Link, and he died from that.
Yeah, and then Navi's actually going to move straight into Roshan.
Very
This is a
smart.
ballsy maneuver, and there's no ward coverage, so it should be pretty safe.
Yeah, there's still 2 dead heroes.
Happening.
They don't have a Ravage. Chaos Knight used his ulti. There's no way they'll fight this. Navi knows that they've got this uncontested. Now, they don't have a black hole themselves, but, I mean, their heroes are a little bit better in low amounts like this, so at least lots of team fights. And they have 1 illusion, just scouting this out. They're like, okay, you want to gank us? It's going to be fine. Sven grabs the Aegis. His BKB will be finished in 200 gold. Puppey's going for Treads next, and they'll have black hole in another 80 seconds, so smart place from Navi.
If Havos had not died really far on that bottom lane, imagine how much better that fight would have gone from the mid when they used the black hole. I mean, we saw they didn't even have the black hole last time, but Dendi and Havos were able to just mow down the rest of the enemy team.
Ooh, almost getting a Reality Rift on Havos in the mid lane. Would have been pretty scary here, especially with the medallion, man. Chaos Knight hits really hard physical, so having all that minus armor would have helped a lot. Templar Assassin have a pretty good game, though, but the EXP is actually very, very focused in this game. Everybody's sitting in about the same place. Arzak could disrupt if he wants to. He's got 4 levels of Shadow Poison, by the way, so he can really do some AoE damage output. I'm sure he would love to have something like an Arcane Boots to support that, but regardless, his teamfight contribution is actually pretty good. A lot higher than a normal Shadow Demon will have.
And this is going to be a little bit in the future here, but Crit has actually picked up a Belt of Strength. And with that, I think he has 2 viable item choices. But in the mid lane, Havos getting stunned.
Yeah, I'm guessing Necro 3 is what we'll see.
Necro, or the other thing I was thinking is maybe he could be building a Halberd.
That wouldn't be a bad idea either. They have a lot of physical damage heroes. You could use it against this Sven. Gives the hero evasion himself, survivable versus physical damage. Dendi still doesn't have Wall of Replica, by the way. Will he even grab it? I don't know if he has the mana to support it without a Soul Ring, honestly. Darkseer does have very expensive spells. Wall of Replica, 200, 300, 400 mana. He had a good opportunity earlier, but he didn't have the mana regardless, even if he had the skill points into it. And he's going Pipe next, actually. So I think he might just never get the Soul Ring. Can he do it? There's a TP bottom. They're going for a gank on Puppey. Dust is used. He's trying to hide, but they did find him. There's the burst damage. Going to see 1 nuke from him. He is actually really tanky. He's still alive here. He's fighting. He kills the Wisp. Oh my god, he pops the 1. Another nuke in a second. That was not the right hero to gank. All the illusions up. Oh my gosh, almost killing Link. He was considering popping his ulti to dodge the next Spirit Lance, but it does not come. I did not see that coming at all.
That was unreal, and now he's going to be caught. Dendi comes through with Arsar, and they're able to take him down. Now they're going to run after Calculus. Dendy is so fast with the Surge. Vacuum is on cooldown.
Wow.
That was crazy.
That was insanely crazy. Vanguard really paid off there. 40 of the damage being blocked
Calculus
at a
is
pretty
gonna
good
die.
chance. Oh,
Dendy
wow.
actually did just drop replica on one hero.
Because he really wanted a pirate hat.
Yeah.
Doesn't care if it's real. Man, I still can't believe he survived that, though. But look at his survivability. He's got 17 armor. He's got a Vanguard. He had a Power Treads. And he had a lot of illusions up. And they don't have AoE. So all of the bursts, the wisps went off on the solo hero. And they didn't kill the illusions. And all of a sudden, they had a bunch of illusions just wailing on him there. So he could trade hits pretty effectively. I'm really surprised that worked out. But tank items are the way to go, apparently. And he can still get a damage item, like a Diffusal Blade or Radiance after this, if he wants to.
Diffusal Blade is so strong on this hero, obviously, with all of the illusions. And Dendy is here with just Puppy, but reinforcements are coming in the form of Light of Heaven. Now he's got his Black Hole back, so we'll see if Navi wants to fight here. Havos is not anywhere in the area, and he's the one with the Aegis.
There's even a Midnight Pulse for Enigma. I think they're going to try to do the combo here. Denny's thinking about surging in, using some bottle right now. Will they do it? They're going to do some damage to Link. He's also going to go Invis to run in here. There's the first vacuum. Illusions spread off from Link. That was a big mistake here. And now they say, okay, we'll just walk away for about 40 seconds. And then all of your illusions are wasted. So they're okay with that one.
Yep. Can't really initiate with just illusions, especially on 3 heroes. If he had gone in there, then they would have just gotten destroyed. Black Hole would have gone off.
Yep. And now Puppy is going to take out the rest of the creep wave. Only hero not here is still Havos. He's actually jungling. I think the Radiant team knows because they have been seeing him on this top ward when he takes out this camp. He's going to have to go back to base first, pick up a TP scroll, and then go for the initiation. Look at this. Sakshka's looking for him actively. They'll see him, and now he's in a lot of trouble. Here comes the blink. Melstrike takes him out. That's the Aegis. Havost, I don't know why you're here, but he's still farming. We're going to see a pause from Chaos Knight. He's going to respawn. I think he's in a lot of trouble.
Yep, dying twice with the Aegis away from your team is also very bad. There's almost no way for him to get out of this. I guess he does have the BKB, actually. I didn't realize that was finished. He might be able to turn around and just take out Calculus.
Needs 2 hits, I think. 1 more, and he's going to have himself a kill. There's the blink strike forward, but the juking, great juking. Melt strike on Havos. Can he block him in? He's taking damage, and the Gush gets the kill. Sven does die twice, but in the meantime, the rest of Navi takes the tier 2 tower, and now they're looking to pressure the Rax.
And this is really bad for Crit. There is no way Crit lives now. He's going to come back, land right on the wall of replicas. And there it goes.
That was smart from Dendy. He saw them coming back. He knew that if they brought both, he could wall both. And it was just the Wisp, but regardless, is going to pressure them away from the tower. Now, he has no mana for anything else, no Soul Ring to get any spell up. The Courier's bringing TP scrolls to Light of Heaven, and of course, he does have Black Hole. But really what they need more than anything, there's the Blink Ravage from Calculus, catches all 4. Light of Heaven looks for the BKB, things off. Link's just trying to stay away. We're going to see 1 Disruption and a Soul Catcher. We'll see Calculus die for this one. So decent trade for the BKB gravity hero, but will they push in is the question. I think they're going to keep going.
And there's a Diffusal Blade finished up for Puppy as well.
Nice.
That's going to do a lot of damage and also going to help them just continue to push. And he can send the illusions in and just start hitting Crit, and Link especially. Link does not have very much mana as the Chaos Knight.
Puppy's actually pretty low. Light of Heaven gets caught, 3 seconds on him. Great disruption from Arzard, putting the ulti on top of Link. Soul Catcher lands, so he's going to take big damage from this. Will he survive Malphite last second? He does get bursted down. There's the Black Hole finally. BKB stopping Sakshka. It's got Crit as well. Can they get him? He's so low, but the BKB helps him out. Puppy's got to run away. Barely survives 40 HP, and that's going to be the disengage of the team fight. There's no way they can fight anymore with Puppy this low, and he will TP back to base, pick up his Diffusal Blade, and he's going to be even scarier for the rest of the game.
Scepter up for Arsart. It's going to help him deal with the right clicks of the TA as well as the Chaos Knight. This is an extremely popular pickup against these 2 heroes just because they're both right click, and that allows Arsart to live through much longer in the team fights as well as ganks. Maybe get some reinforcements and reverse gank. Kovos just continuing to farm the jungle here.
Pipe is finished now for Darkseer. He's got to buy some mana regen item after this, though, without having Soul Ring. I mean, even some games they'll have Soul Ring and Arcane Boots and be lacking on mana for Darkseer, but Sheepstick would be a good choice. I would love to see a Sheepstick out of him. Pretty expensive, but it does give you some stats and plenty of mana regen. He could do something weird like a Yule's as well. Who knows? Man, Diffusal Blade now on PL, though. His agility is getting insane. He can drain mana. He's going to be able to absolutely crush TA now. Can break through his shield a lot quicker because every single time he hits, he does damage, and he does damage from the Diffusal Blades. That's 2 sources. Can break through the shields really quick.
Yep, and now Navi's continuing to march towards the mid lane here. They know that they've got a big advantage. Even with the black hole down, that means the Ravage. It was also down, you have to remember, that got used in the last team fight. It is coming up a lot sooner than the black hole. It's just in 20 seconds, but he also doesn't have enough mana to cast it.
Yeah, and with Ion Shells, they kill the creep wave quick and just take the tier 2 tower. Radiant team's still trying to get some farm on Link, but the link of the strategy, no pun intended, is that they actually do have to do a lot of global ganking with relocating. It worked out at first, but then they had that last gank against Puppey that did not work out, and that's a big loss for them. It's very crucial for the Chaos Knight to stay on a rolling ball or the snowball effect. It's very important that he is able to do that. They're actually hiding by the secret shop right now, or the side shop, excuse me. They're expecting that they're getting ganked, actually, but they could always TP away if needed.
And now Centaur's going to spot out. The rest of Na'Vi and Chaos Knight and Crit are going to know that they're safe. They back up.
Another
It's
hero
going to be
that's
Agnem's out of Rise for the extra damage.
out of Rise. The
Enchantress.
Okay, yeah, makes a lot of sense. A lot of Enchantresses are just stacking a lot of HP items. Slightly different skill build that we have been seeing on some Enchantresses lately, but he is maxing Untouchable. It's a skill that is getting buffed very shortly. But Power Treads, Drum of Endurance, Magic Wand, Point Booster. It's really what you need on this hero, is just boost up her HP as much as possible.
Where are you going?
And Sashka going to TP out here as all of Na'Vi is moving towards them. And they're just going to push down this tier 2 as well. And this is when Na'Vi really starts to get in a pretty comfortable position. This is where they like to be. They take down all of your outer towers, they set up a couple wards, and they just start sieging your base. And with the heroes they have, with the Vlads, with the Mechanism, with the Pipe, they're in an extremely strong position to do so.
Ooh, Rise stole one of the Phantom Lancer illusions, so can start stacking these up. If he does end up right-clicking with them. Not paying too much attention, though. He needs to start spawning his army of illusions. Ward gets placed down. They might just jump on the mid lane. It looks like that's what Dendi wants to do. He's surging all the way around. He's got a vacuum in 6 seconds, and instead, nope, just another Absorb Ward down. Arzard, of course, using his Shadow Demon wards on Shadow Demon.
And that's the offensive wards I was talking about. Setting up vision and making it so they can siege your base and kill you if you come out of it.
Let's just take a look at Navi's vision at the moment.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Is there any way for the Radiant team to leave their base without getting spotted? The answer is smoke, and that's it. Like, such smart wards. Some interesting places, too. This one's a more common ward. This one, very, very uncommon. And this ward is a semi-common one. But they're just going to push up to the high ground. I mean, they can do it. And if they just have so much map control. Look at that. They took a tower for nothing. That was an illusion hitting them. Diffusal Blade is used on the Chaos Knight to slow him down by quite a bit. But he's going to be okay. Puppey will have another charge in about 5 seconds. Both still has BKB. He's also got a plate mail, so he's very tanky. Not going for the typical Sven build. But this is the way to go. He doesn't need to do the damage. He just needs to be tanky.
Yep, pipes pop by Na'Vi, and that's going to be them moving up into the racks. You see Light of Heaven is hanging out way in the back with BKB and Blink Dagger. Doesn't want to get caught in anything unnecessary and be able to counter-initiate if a Ravage does go off.
Wow, we're going to just see Link get killed immediately. There's the Blink Black Hole from Light Heaven. Vacuum as well. They're 3 on 1 spot. The cleave goes through, and 4 dead heroes for nothing. Man, this game looks so over. There it is. Good game is called by Link. They just had nothing to slow that down. There's the Ravage. Probably wanted that earlier. I don't know where he was, but he's going to die. It didn't matter. Look at the gold graph. I'm sure it's one-sided. 14k gold advantage. Na'Vi played that game so well. The PL pick was very interesting. And the turning point really was when he got solo ganked and he was able to hold off and kill the Wisp. That was just insane. So, what's your ganking combo kills their 4 hero? Like the guy that just got a little farm. Man, that puts you so far behind. But really cool strat. Very few counter-pushing heroes and AoE heroes from DD, and they just grabbed the PL. They played him as a support role, and they knew that if they ever got to this point, it was an easy win. Because I mean, they just put the illusions high ground, they attacked towers, and there's nothing the enemy team could do about it.
Yeah, it's a really interesting strategy, and they pick it so late that if you're not expecting it, then, I mean, look, they've got nothing to do with these illusions, really.
Yeah. Chaos Knight never even finished his BKB. He had really good early game items, and it did pay off some of the times when he was running away, but ultimately not going to be enough. Na'Vi is going to be able to take Game 1 versus DD, so that is one of the 4 games they need to win GosuLeague Division 1 for Season 5. Game 1 looked really good. Can they do it again in Game 2? And coming up tomorrow, they are going to end up playing against another team. The team is Svenhunterz. Svenhunterz is their second game. That's tomorrow at 20 CET if you end up watching the rest of today. So we'll find out the winners tomorrow of GosuLeague is the main point here.
Yep. Drone should fall here in just a second.
Yes.
Waiting for a minute to time out. But a really strong game from Navi. I mean, unconventional picks that we haven't seen too much lately, mostly just that PL and a great team fight combo with the Darkseer and Enigma is able to carry it through the game. And at 30 minutes, they take a convincing fight, and it's over.
Yep, nice plays by Navi. Interesting picks. Heroes that we don't always see. PL kind of squeezing his way into the metagame occasionally. And we'll be back in just a second with Game 2, guys. This is Purge and WhatIsHip, and we'll see you in a bit.